Good morning, everyone, and welcome to JU-Ice channel. It is still a bit cloudy out, but you can see the sky a little. At least it's clearing up. I'm quite sure it's cold outside. The cold looks like it's going to be here for a little while. But it really doesn't matter. As long as we woke up this morning, thank God for that. And to those that didn't wake up, may they rest in peace. And yeah, um, I was reading an article about Prince Harry. Congratulations, sir. It's a lawsuit that was going, and he won. He won. Congratulations. So much has happened to Harry throughout his life, but I am so glad that things are working out for him and his wife, Meghan Markle, and their kids. I am so happy for them. And by the way, my sympathy goes out to Meghan for her dog, passing, I wasn't so into animals until I met my granddaughter's pet, Mr. Hustle. So, girl, I know how you feel. I know how you feel. But it's okay. It's okay. Cherish the other dogs that you have. And everything is going to be okay. And yeah, people, how is everyone doing today? I hope all right. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Man, the weeks are going by really fast. January just came in and it's almost out. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? And it's so weird, I was reading this article. Well, it's not really weird. It's this lady. She lives in upstate New York. She just turned 101 year old. Excuse me. I woke up a little while ago, I was just reading. But, excuse my yawning. Everyone does that. Yeah, and she was telling us about what and how she, I guess, lived to be that age. She's praying that she lived to outbeat her husband. He died in 2023. He was in the Navy, a veteran. And she's hoping to live to be 103 or past that. Yeah, outdo him. That's all up to God, sweetie. That's all up to God. But yeah, she does her exercises and stuff. She go to her little classes and stuff like that. And simple classes like Zumba and those kind of things. And, she lives in a senior community. So, they have all that kind of stuff there. So, she participates. She looks great for her age. Yeah, she's Caucasian. I am not sure of her, if she is Russian or Jewish or whatever, but it really doesn't matter, Anyway, the name sound like she's probably Russian, Jewish, I'm not sure, but it really doesn't matter, like I just said. Anyway, I'm just happy that she lived to see that age, and hopefully she'll outdo her husband's age. And she also said, you know, young people, and I'm saying older people, they should keep moving. Just keep moving, doing something with yourself, moving, exercising, whatever kind of moving you do. I'm not talking about moving from place to place to live. I'm talking about getting up in the mornings and moving your body, you know, if it's dancing, exercising, running, jumping, skipping, whatever. You got to do some kind of movement with your body, because if you don't, it will all crinkle upon you, and eventually you'll just wither away and die. So I guess that's what she's trying to say. That's what kept her going. And like myself, you know, I keep moving also. I'm always moving, you know. It's good. It makes your body feels good. I'm telling you. It keeps that adrenaline pumping people. And yeah, I was reading this article just now. I didn't read the whole article. You know, it's about with Oprah Winfrey, excuse me. You know, she was telling someone about, you know, about her weight loss journey, you know, taking diet pills and stuff like that. And, you know, allegedly, this is what she's told the person, said to the person, you know, she was doing an interview. You know, I guess, like, you know, she was obese, and she always often, these are my words, she looked at she always sees skinny people as, how would I put it, like something uplifting, you know what I'm saying, because of her size. But now, after taking the diet pills or whatever, allegedly, she realized, because remember, the stuff had her go in the hospital, you know, I guess it made her sick or whatever. I had read that in an article before, allegedly. Anyway, after going through all of that, she realized that it really doesn't matter, you know, taking diet pills to make yourself skinny. You could hurt yourself doing that. Skinny people, they have issues also. They have a lot of issues. They might be small in size, but up here mentally, some of them are struggling because they can't cope with being that size. You know, they lack a lot of self-esteem. You know, they have a lot of issues also. So just because you are a big person, don't always look at a small person and wish that you were that way, and then you go taking diet stuff to try to be that size, you know. It's not always greener on the other side. If you're a large person, try to cut down what you eat. I'm not saying not to eat, but try to cut down what you eat and drink and do exercises and stuff like that, you know, and try to think positive. Try to think positive and try to love yourself, not like, try to love yourself. Read books, do stuff that makes you feel good. Everyone is not born skinny. Some people become obese because of genes. Some people come that way because of illnesses. Some people just eat themselves into obesity because they lack a lot of self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? They are not driven. They get upset over this, over that. It could be bills, your rent, housing, name it. And some people, they just are quick to give up. So they will just lay around or sit around and just stuff themselves with food, which is not good. It's good to have someone or people around you that will encourage you to lift yourself up. I know they have people that belittles obese people, and that is not good. That is not nice. No one should do that. No one. I remember a time back, I was watching, I don't know if I was watching a movie or I happened to be walking outside and I saw someone that was obese. And I remember a cousin of mine, I was like, my frame of mind was, well, damn, she eats too much. She needs to stop eating like that. That's what I said. And my cousin, she said, sis, some people get that way because of sickness. Some people, it doesn't mean that they just eat themselves away. People have different reasons why they're that way. You know what I'm saying? So you shouldn't judge. And then she used an example of her niece, and I never looked at it like that. You know what I'm saying? I never looked at it as the person might be that way because of genes or illness. Nothing like that. I never looked at it like that. I just always used to look at obese people as, oh, they eat too much. They need to stop stuffing their faces. That's how I used to be looking at it. And I was totally wrong. After she said that to me, I straightened up. I started looking at it in different views. You know what I'm saying? So to any of you out there that ridicule obese people, please don't do that. Do not look down on others, because you don't know what their situation is, what problems they're going through. So do not look down on anyone. That include myself. For the ones that's skinny, a lot of them, including myself, because I remember when I was younger, I used to always say I'm so skinny. So I used to go, mind you, this is at age 14, 15. I think I stopped around maybe 17, I'm not sure. But I used to, I don't know if y'all ever heard of this Weight On. They sold it in the stores. It was a liquid. It probably came in pill form, but I never looked for the pills. I just used to get the liquid. I was a person that always used to be, they didn't have the cell phones as yet. So, I always used to be in a dictionary looking up stuff. But now they made it so simple that you can Google up stuff. So, I was always reading the books and reading this and reading that. And I found out about the weight. What is it? Weight Oh my God, Weight On. That's right. So I went and I purchased me some Weight On. And believe it or not, I used to be drinking that stuff all the time. Mind you, I lived at home with my mother and my dad at the time. But my mother didn't know what I was doing. She was so busy going to her church and work, she didn't really know what the heck I was doing. That's why I always say parents need to pay attention to their kids. They be more into what they're doing than into their kids. And that's why their kids be doing all sorts of different stuff, being promiscuous, all this kind of stuff. Okay. I used to go to the store. When it runs out, I will go back and buy some more. And I used to be drinking it. I think it was a tablespoon a day. I used to drink it. But for some reason, I never put the weight on. I always wanted my ankles to get bigger, down here, because it's skinny right here. I got called, oh, you have man legs, you have running legs, all this kind of crazy stuff. And I used to be so upset hearing that. So I wanted to fill all of this out. This was just my concern right here, nothing else. And it's still the same way up to this day. So I just stopped using the Weight On over the years. And I decided, you know what? This is the way God made me. So I'm just going to be who I am. To hell with whoever called me whatever, I got that frame of mind when I got older in life. So I didn't let none of that bother me. But it still affected me because I never used to like to wear dresses. I never liked to show my legs. You know what I'm saying? If I wore shorts, I would wear them in the house. I wore jeans and pants all my life. When I was in Barbados, a little girl, I wore dresses and stuff like that. You didn't have a choice. But coming to America, the wear up here is like a lot of pants and stuff like that. So, it becomes cold and stuff. So, I got into the habit of liking to wear pants because I didn't have to show my legs or get called skinny legs or chicken legs or all that kind of stuff. So, it grew on me. So my entire closet was just a lot of pants and jeans, especially jeans. So, I didn't go crazy taking on other stuff to make myself, to get my legs bigger or whatever. I never was into taking diet pills and all that kind of stuff. I never really cared about doing stuff like that. So I never got involved. But they have a lot of skinny folks that they don't like the way how they look, so they go out there getting stuff inject into their bodies. They take different kind of medication, pills and stuff, diet pills and stuff. And lots of time those things only work for a little while and then it makes you sick of something. So I suggest people just love yourself as you are and stop putting all this kind of stuff in your system. I'm telling you, because it's just going to bring havoc to you. If not havoc, death. Well, that's the end result. Love yourself as you are, But in this day and time, people don't like themselves, don't love themselves. So, they always trying to do this and do that with their bodies or whatever. I don't know. But in most cases, it's not working. It doesn't work. So I suggest you take a good look at yourself. Try to get some confidence, build up some confidence in yourself, and be you. Just be you. Love you for you. Yeah. Then they have the skinny folks, like the models and stuff. A lot of them, not just models, a lot of these folks, male and female, they don't want to put too much weight on. They eat, but they go in the bathroom and they vomit all that food back up. They don't, that's an illness also. They don't want to get too big. They just want to stay one size. And a lot of it is for, like, if you want to become a model, or just in general, you don't want your friends to call you fat or stuff like that. So they would do all this kind of stuff, but they do this stuff behind closed doors where no one knows or sees. And they do it so much that they become sick. They get weak and weaker and weaker and weaker, and they get really sick. It's called anorexia. They end up going into the hospital. Oh my God. And that is a bad illness. It is. So any of you out there that's doing that, please seek help. Get a therapist. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Right now that I'm talking, there are millions of girls and boys going out there doing this. They probably in their bathroom right now, throwing up whatever they ate yesterday or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to have that perfect body, that perfect figure. And this happens all over the world. So young ladies and young men, stop destroying yourself. That's what you're doing. You're destroying yourself. Please don't do that anymore. It's sad how a lot of model agencies, they don't accept people at a certain height. You have to be a certain size and stuff like that. It's sad. It's really sad. But that's dumb, I'm not running that agency or whatever. So, I can't change their rules. But I just pray for all those young men and women that's trying to get into modeling, and they feel that they have to go through all these extremes just to get that job. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this. If something is for you, you will get it. Don't put yourself in danger for something. Don't. It's not worth it. Everyone on this earth has a purpose. We are all here on a journey. You might think that you want to be a model, but somewhere along the line, that's not for you. It's something else there for you. So just because you have a friend or friends that's doing something doesn't mean that you have to do it too. We all have different thoughts, different ideas. We all have different everything. Find out what it is that you like, what you like to do, or what you think you might want to do. Good example. Remember when you was a little child, when you was little growing up? And someone brought this to my attention. Remember when you were a little boy or little girl growing up? You always used to say to yourself, or something used to be in your mind? Well, I used to always say I wanted to be a nurse. Well, like that, everyone on this earth, I do believe, when you was little, you always said to yourself, you might not have say it out loud to others, but you said to yourself, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. Well, go right back. Take yourself all the way back to when you was a little girl, a little boy, and try to remember. It will come back to you. Try to remember what it was that you always said, when you get older, you want to do this, or you want to be this, or you want to do that. That's exactly who you're supposed to be, or what you're supposed to be doing. But sometimes in life, things changes as you get older, because that's what I always said I wanted to be, a nurse. But I got older. I went to high school, Clara Barton High School in Brooklyn, New York. And that is a nursing school because it's still in existence. And I signed up. Well, I had to take a test to get into this school. And I got into that one. I got accepted to Eli Whitney also. But Eli Whitney was in Manhattan, it was further away. So I chose Clara Barton. So I went there. And I was in a nursing program. I mentioned this in a prior video, so I'm not going to go all deep into it. And it so happened that my nursing teacher, she said I wouldn't make a good nurse. Oh my God. I said, why? She said, because I'm too sympathetic. I would hurt the patient more than I would help them, because I would feel sorry for the patient. Excuse me. I said to her, no, I wouldn't. She said, yes, I would. So you know what? I changed my mind. I didn't want to be a nurse anymore. I just changed my mind just by listening to her say that. I changed my mind. And I got into the business program, which I didn't really want to get into. But I got into that. And like 1 week you work and then the other week you go to classes, and while you work, you got a stipend, but you was also getting a grade for that towards your graduation. So I graduated in the business field. All right. Here it is. I'm grown now, but I still don't know what I want to be, because this lady just messed my head up by telling me something like that. So I got into a program studying stuff that I didn't really wanted to do. I'm not the type liking to dress in suits and all this kind of stuff. That's not me. I learned how to type and stuff like that. But, I'm okay with math and stuff like that, but it's not a favorite subject of mine. And I didn't really care for that field. So here I was, all lost in space, doing different kind of jobs, doing different kind of jobs. I worked in a warehouse as a salesperson. I did security, different levels, in the shelters mainly. I did security at the telephone company, I just had a liking for uniform jobs. but I was still lost in space, didn't know what the hell I wanted to do in my life. And this went on for quite a while. But I still held a job, because I had to make my ends meet. I had a child. And before I even had the child, I had to make ends meet to help out in the house, like that, my mother's house and stuff with my siblings. But I was still lost. Didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, what I want to be, but time is going by. I'm getting older. I didn't know anything about taking those tests, the transit tests where you could have gotten a real city job and stuff like that. I didn't know nothing about that. Only thing I knew about was the police. I thought of becoming a police officer, but I didn't really want to do that. I took the test and I scored. At the time, your passing score was a 70. I scored a 70, but I never even got called anymore about that. So it didn't faze me because I didn't really want to do that either. It came to the point where I was like going out of my mind. I was like, damn, I got to get something. Because, when you're getting older now, that's when you're realizing you got to lock something in, something that's meaningful and is a purpose in life. Because this is how your life is going to be now. You're not going to be living at home with your parents anymore. You're going to have responsibility. You're going to have bills and stuff to pay. So you have to really get it together. You know what I'm saying? You have to get it together. So it came to the point where, I said I love uniform jobs. So, I thought about going in the military. So, I went and after I got a lot of people to go sign up at the recruiting station, because I took a lot of people to the recruiters and got them in the military. No, I wasn't getting paid for it. It was just something that I liked doing. And then I decided to go take the tests and I went in, Remember, I tried so many times to take the test to go to regular army because I wanted to go away, just go away. And I didn't really like being at home, so I just wanted to get away. But for some reason, I kept failing the test. I failed the test like 4 times and I gave up. I said I wasn't going to try anymore. And then, and plus you had to wait like 6 months in between to take the test at that time. I don't know how it is now. And I used to be so pissed off because here I was at a turning point in my life where I had to get it together. I felt that I had to get it together because I'm getting older. So I found out about the National Guard, so I decided to go take the test, and I took the test, and I passed. So I had a split session, I went to basic training first at Fort Dix, New Jersey. My company was A53. And then after I finished basic training, my split was I went home for a little while, maybe about a week or 2, and then I ended up going to school. I went to Indianapolis for to become an administrative specialist. That's what the score that I got, that's what the job that I was going to have. And that's the job that I had. And at the time, they weren't using the computers. They used to use typewriters and all that kind of stuff. But that job is a very good job. So, I went there for school. It was cold over there too. And I enjoyed it. I just hated when it was time to come home because I just didn't want to come home. Anyway, the day I graduated, the trainer came through. We were all lined up in formation, and the trainer came through, and he was calling out our names, telling us our assignments, where we were be going from there. And guess what? My name was called out to go to Germany, working in the post office. Now, mind you, I never even signed up for regular army. I was in the National Guard. I don't know how they made a mistake like that. But I said, you got the wrong person. So they had to go check that out. And when they checked it out, believe it or not, that wasn't my orders. My orders was to come back to New York and go straight to my unit, which was 101st Signal Battalion in Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, our main headquarters was upstate New York, Yonkers. And my unit, my battalion was basically Irish. But the Brooklyn unit had a lot of Puerto Ricans and blacks in it. Few whites, but Puerto Ricans and blacks. So, we met up very often when we went upstate and stuff like that, and when we had to go away for our 2 weeks training, and when we got we were sent to 911, like that. I had a wonderful time in the military. That I did. But I still didn't know what the hell I wanted to be. I still didn't know what I wanted to be. All these things I did, but I still didn't know what I wanted to be. And I remember while I was working, our unit, we were activated by the governor, so we had to go, to the 911 disastrous area. So we were up there, and we set up shop and stuff. They were different units from all over the place: regular Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, you name it. Everybody was there. State troopers from different states, police officers from different states, firemen from different states, all different. Everybody was there. And we were in the Jacob Javits Center. That's where we had to stay. That's where we slept. We stayed there for weeks, and the Jacob Javits Center is huge. It's a beautiful place, and it's huge. So everyone had to set up shop there. We had our cots and stuff like that, and our gear, so we had to set up. That was home. We couldn't go home. We had to stay there. So it was exciting. It was sad, but it was exciting. And it was scary because we had to be on the lookout each and every second, because it was terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. Well, they knocked both buildings down. So it was a very disastrous time for New York. And as being soldiers, we had to be very aware of our surroundings and people and stuff like that, because no one knows what was going to happen the next second. Anyone could have gotten killed. Anyone could have gotten kidnapped. So we had our buddies, so we had to pay attention to everything that was going on. Plus, we were there to secure everyone, people, places, and everything. We were there to secure. protect. So we all did a very good job, even though it was dangerous, because there was a lot of fumes and stuff and all this. We had to wear masks. It was cold. It was hot and then it got cold. You know what I'm saying? The weather change and stuff. And we just had to be aware of everything and be careful. But we weren't able to go home to see our families and stuff like that. We had to be very on the down low. But we made it through. And New York came back, they rebuilt other buildings, it's beautiful now. But the memories are there and they will never go away. We had to secure the areas, and stuff like that. So I saw a lot. Every day you smell, are any of y'all ever heard of this place smells like death? Has anyone ever been into a morgue? Well, the smell that you get in the morgue, that's what over there smelled like. Burnt flesh. It smelled like that. It was a very distinctive smell. But for some reason, it didn't bother me. It didn't. So, they were asking for volunteers to go to the morgue. So that morning, I put my hand up. I used to always volunteer for stuff. And it was about 8 of us that volunteered. It was me and this other Spanish female, Puerto Rican, we were the only 2 females. The others were guys. Romero, that was her last name. And, we got in the truck and we drove all the way to Bellevue. That was my first time going into a morgue. And, we were scared and stuff because we didn't know what we was going to run into on the road or what to expect or whatever. But the reason they asked for volunteers is because we had to transport caskets to the morgue for the unalive. So before we got into the trucks, that morning, I came into the area where the caskets were delivered. A lot of people from all over the world donated caskets. They were different sizes, different colors. They even had one that was a jeans material. And me, I'm a person that get fascinated over anything that have to do with death. I'm very curious. Not afraid, curious. So I was like so excited. I had this excitement in me. I didn't see the caskets yet. I went into the room and they were all covered in green blankets. Each one were covered. There were more than 100 caskets in that. It was a tent, right? A large tent. And they had these caskets in there. The tent was set up on a cement level. So when I went in there that morning, someone turned the light on and I got this excitement just rush into my body. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. So everyone was standing around just looking. I went over and I said, well, what the heck is all this? Why are they covered in blankets, green blankets? So I went over to one and I took the cover and I pulled it open. And to my surprise, it was a casket. So I just went around. I was looking at all the others. I opened one and I looked inside. I was so fascinated. I was not afraid. One of the soldiers said, Weir likes this kind of stuff. She loved this kind of stuff. Look at her. Look at her. So one of them said, "Girl, you're not scared?" I said, "No, scared of what? When we die, we our bodies is gonna put in here. This is gonna be our bed, and then they're gonna take us to the graveyard and bury us, or however they do you." I said, "What is there to be afraid of?" So the guy said, one of the soldiers said, "You are one weird person. No wonder your name is Weir, because in basic training, they used to call me weirdo, wire. They used to call me all sorts of stuff, but I didn't even care. Anyway, we ended up taking these caskets to Bellevue, to the morgue. So as soon as we got down there, the police, they blocked the street off so we could come through. They ask you who you are and where you going. So, you had to show your ID. The driver, he had to show his ID and stuff like that. So, we went in. And this is my first time going to the morgue, people. So we drove in and stuff. And it's soon, Bellevue, the building is underground. It's under the ground. So when you drive in, you just drive in, then it's like a little lift, and then you turn, and then you're right at the top of the entrance. It's weird. It's weird. Then there's an opening, and then you just drive and go straight in. It's dark, and then afterwards when you get in, you see lights shining and stuff like that. It's weird. It is so weird. But the minute that we got to that opening, the smell, you could smell that smell. So we went down and we drove in and went in. And like I said, it was dark down there, spooky looking, quiet, the smell. But me, I was so excited. I wanted to see what was going on in there. So this man came out, this Caucasian man, he looked like Lurch. Y'all remember that show, that the Addams Family, Lurks, whatever his name is? He looked like him. Tall, big, So he came over to us, and the driver told him we were there to deliver the caskets and stuff like that. So he was like, okay, And he spoke like with a slur too, Weird looking man, but he was nice. So he, me, I'm curious. So, I was walking around the place like I was this big person or whatever. And the rest of them is just standing there. Where you going? I said, I'm going inside. They was like, girl, are you crazy? I was like, no. And of course, I was a sergeant, so they weren't. I was higher ranked than them, so I could do whatever, So I went inside, and there was a gentleman sitting at the desk, and I spoke to him, and I told him who I was, what we were there for, and he was like, okay, he was very nice. And then I said, you people should play some music in here. You know what I'm saying? Just because people are dead doesn't mean that you have to have the place looking dead too. Play some kind of music. It doesn't have to be loud music, but play some music, liven up the place. And this smell, you need to spray some kind of spray in here so it'll make it smell a little better, So he was like, okay, I'll think about it. That's what he said. But the people are dead. They're not going to know anything. I said, come on, just when you work here, try to liven it up at least. He was like, okay, and then he laughed. So then he said, come, you want to see something? Mind you, I left the others out there. I said, sure. He took me, you know, they have like these big ovens. I don't know if any of y'all ever been to those places where people get cremated. You know, they have these big ovens with the big iron doors. Well, that's what was in there. Lots of them. And he went over and he pulled one open, and they were bags, maybe about maybe six plastic bags, and it had like meat. It looked like chopped up chicken. That's how it looked, the meat. I know a lot of y'all are probably saying, oh my God, that's gross. No, this is real. I saw this with my own eyes. And the bags had like, it looked like chicken in a bag. And the bags were tied and it was tagged. So I was like, what's that? So he said, this is what's remain of children that parents, that mothers abort, that mothers kill. I said, what? He said, yeah, this is the remainder. These are pieces of little babies. I said, oh my God. He said, yeah. But these ovens it was like a freezer because it was cold. It wasn't hot. I said it looks like an oven because of the shape and stuff, but it was cold. So, you know, they keep the bodies and the meat in there so it would freeze, you know, because if it wasn't freezing, it would stink. It would really, really stink. So, you know, they have to put it on ice. So, yeah. I said, so what's going to happen to that? He said, you see the little truck outside, the little black truck outside? We packed them in there, and other bodies that's unknown, you know, nobody come forward to claim it. And then when the truck is full, you know, we drive it up to Pottersfield. Pottersfield is an area up in the Bronx where they bury the unknown, you know. They're considered unknown because no one comes forward and claim the body. So that's what they do with the unknown. And when you go to Pottersfield, like, you know, they could put like 10 bodies in one hole. You know what I'm saying? Nobody comes there to visit. Nobody knows nothing. You're there or whatever. There's no name on no grave or nothing like that. So it doesn't really make sense going there because you're not going to know where the person is anyway. So this is what happens to the unknown. I never been to Pottersfield. I saw pictures of it, but I never been there. But this is what they do. And then he took me over to some more. He said, you want to see some more? And I was like, yeah, you know, I was real excited. So I was sad but excited. He took me over to this one. He opened the door, like you pull it down, and it was a lady, an old lady, you know, somebody's grandmother or something. She had clothes on her body. She wasn't nude or nothing like that. So he opened it and he showed me. So I just looked. Then he took me to another one. It was an older gentleman. And we were getting ready to go upstairs so he could show me some more, but we never made it upstairs because here comes my crew coming in with the guy that I said looked like Lurch, 2 paramedics, and they were reeling in this lady. She was unalive. She was obese. I don't know if she was Spanish or what, but she was in that Caucasian color look. They reel her in, and then she was on a gurney, and then they needed help to lift her off the gurney. So we all stood around her and we all grabbed hold of her. Her body was like really hard, it was stiff. She was unalive. And we lifted her and we all walked her over to the table where they was gonna, examine her or whatever. And we put her there. She was mighty heavy. When a person dies, their body is like really heavy. So they took her over there and stuff like that. The paramedic said, this is how she died. She was in her apartment. She was coming down the stairs and she fell. That's how she died. So she must have hit really hard because the stairs were some long stairs. And being that she was so heavy, they had problems lifting her. So yeah. So, we delivered the caskets and stuff, and then we went back to where we were supposed to be going back, to the area where we were. And everyone was asking us questions and all this kind of stuff. It was lunchtime. So, we went and washed our hands, and then I went and got my food. And then people was like, didn't y'all just come from the morgue? How the hell can y'all eat? I was like, and we are hungry. Some of them didn't eat, but I was hungry. Things like that don't faze me. So I went and I got my food. I'm sitting at the makeshift table, because we had a makeshift tent where the police and everybody gathered and we ate lunch and stuff like that. And by the way, me and this other Spanish sergeant, we used to set up the kitchen and serve the food and all that kind of stuff. It was a whole lot of different kind of ways to help out over there. So, we used to be jumping into this and jumping into that, doing all different kinds of errands, packing this, packing that, stuff like that. There was never an idle person. There was always something to do. So anyway, this guy, he was Muslim from my unit. He was sitting at the table where I was sitting to eat. So he looked at me and he said, that's your calling. I said, my calling? What are you talking about? He said, you have a fascination with the dead, with the unknown. That's your calling. I was like, well, why would you say something like that? What the heck can I do with the dead? He said, I watch you the whole time. You get so fascinated with stuff like that. You are not afraid. Most people are afraid. You are not afraid. That is what you're supposed to do in life. I said, what? And as a child, as I mentioned in the video before, I love going into the graveyards. Up to this day, I love graveyards. I'm not afraid. When I was growing up in Barbados, I used to go to the graveyards. On Saturday, I was in a Sunday school club, and we used to go out on the graves, and we would pick the grass, put flowers down, clean it, and stuff like that. I was never afraid. So he said, that's your calling. I don't know what exactly that you have to do, but it's your calling. That's something that you like to do. Your calling is something that you love to do, that you enjoy doing. And that is your calling. I said, oh, okay. Continue eating. So, years later, I had graduated from I had graduated because I went to school. I said I wanted to be a social worker. I wanted to work with troubled youth and stuff like that. So that's what I went to school to do. But as I said in a past video, The school, they told you it was a social worker school, but it wasn't. They give you the classes. So I graduated. I got my degree and stuff. Never could get into what I wanted to do, because I didn't have enough experience, they said. So I continued doing the security, the public safety at the college where I was. I wasn't going to quit my job and look for a job. That didn't make sense. You need income, and then I had good insurance and stuff like that. So, I stayed there. The money wasn't getting higher, but who cares, I survived. So, while I was doing that, I used to go to the library a lot. So I started looking up mortuary and looking up the different kinds of schools and stuff. And then, I was like, maybe I should get into that. You have to go to school for it. So I was looking into it and stuff like that. But then I made a few calls and stuff, but then I got a lot of setbacks telling me, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this. So, I just gave up on it. I said, to hell with it. I just gave it on it. I said, I'll just visit the graves. That's what I did. So, one day I was over at Downstate Hospital, and I saw this young girl, and she was driving. They call it the hearse. To those of you who don't know what a hearse is, that's where they drive the unalive, like when they go into the funeral or whatever. Yeah, she was driving one of those. She was black, beautiful black girl. She was dressed in all her whole black. I was so astonished when I saw her get out the car in the vehicle. The hearse is a big vehicle. So I was like, you're the driver? She said yes, and she smiled. I said, girl, I'm so proud of you. Oh my God, I never seen a woman driving one of these before. I always see a man, always a man. I said, wow. And she smiled, and I saluted her, and she went and got in, and then she drove off. I was so proud to see that. And I'm always proud, and I always salute women, like women that I see ride motorcycles, women that I see drive a hearse, women that I see working in the fire department. I salute women that I see in these jobs that you always see men in, and you don't really see women. They always got the women working behind the desk or some BS. But to actually see them doing that, I actually saw a firewoman driving a truck also, a black female in Brooklyn. And I shouted out to her while she was driving on the street. You darn right. I shouted out to her because you don't really see many women. It doesn't matter if she's black or white. You don't really see a lot of women driving these heavy ass vehicles. Excuse me for cursing. You don't really see that. And I am always proud when I see a woman driving or, something like that. Not just sitting behind a desk doing desk work. They out in the field actually working. So thumbs up to all you women out there. Doesn't matter what color that be handling these kind of jobs. I'm dead serious. So yeah, I never did that. I never became nothing in the mortuary field. I even made phone calls because somebody was telling me, you should try to volunteer. Try to go to funeral homes and ask if they need. Someone was telling me, oh, you could probably do the makeup and stuff like that. Just ask. And I went to several funeral homes, but most of the funeral homes are family owned. So it's like really hard getting in there. And then there was a man that my daughter's husband, he's unalive now, knew that was a funeral director, a black guy. And I met him one day at my daughter's house when they were living in Long Island. And I spoke with him, and he told me, he gave me his information and stuff like that. But the weirdest thing, when I called him, they would never answer their phone. So I said, it figured. So I just left that alone. I never even inquired anymore about working with them or doing that like that. But there were times I used to be saying, what if I was working there and I was doing one of the heads while I was fixing the person's face or whatever, the hair, and then I see a movement, like the person just moved, like got up, like hold their head up or their hand. How would I act? I don't know. Those kind of thoughts just started coming in my head. So, I don't know. I just never even went because I never got the chance. Nobody didn't give me the chance. So I just gave up. I didn't even bother no more. I didn't go looking nowhere else. But the funeral parlor that took care of my mom, he's from Barbados. It was in Brooklyn. His daughter, oh my God, this young girl, she don't look no older than 21. She took care of my mom. She made my mom up. I told her my mom didn't wear no makeup. So don't put no lot of stuff on her face. She don't wear lipstick. Don't do that. You could put a little gloss. And she hooked my mom up. My mom had looked her natural self. She curled her hair and stuff like that. My mom had looked really nice. She did a very good job. And while I was at my mother's wake, I walked into like different rooms at the funeral parlor. So I saw a lot of different unalive people, male and female, just laying there, But other than that, I never really got into doing that, And I don't really regret it, I'm not worrying about it. I am satisfied with the way how my life turned out now. And like I said, I'm an author. I wrote my own book. And, I'm a notary. Pretty soon I'll be getting ready to perform my first wedding. My friend, he wants me to marry his niece. So I'm waiting for my other documents to come. It's in the mail. And then I'll be performing the ceremony, I might do a video of it. Well, I'm going to have to try to get my granddaughter. I spoke to her. She said she would. But when that time comes, I'll let you guys know and see. But for right now, I'm satisfied with how my life turned out. I'm satisfied. I didn't become the nurse that I wanted to be or whatever, but I became a lot of things. Seriously, I became a lot of things. So maybe that's what I was supposed to be. Not just one thing. So, I'm very grateful for all the experiences and stuff like that. And I love helping people. It doesn't matter where they're from, what color they are, nothing. I enjoy that. And that's part of who I am, and that's probably who I was supposed to be. A person that gives, that shares, that helps. That's probably who I was supposed to be, not just a nurse. So I'm like a nurse, but I'm like in different forms, So I'm very grateful. So getting back, whatever it is that you think you might want to do in life, do it. And then sometimes, like with my story, people get discouraged by other people and they give up on what they really wanted to do. But you can always go different routes in life. Like I did, different routes in life. So folks, I'm going to end my video right now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure y'all do the do. Always thank God for waking up each morning that you woke up. Peace. And as you can see, the sky is beautiful. Have a good day.